Good morning, everyone. It's April 20th, and it's Sarkis's birthday. So happy birthday, Sarkis. I hope you have a really good day. So this week is Insect Week, right? Last week we talked about mammals, and this week we'll be talking about insects. And something really cool about insects is that they make up most of the animals on Earth. I think about 80% of the animals on Earth are actually insects. Most of them are pretty small, so you're not always aware of them, but they are truly everywhere. Also, there's about 1 million different kinds of insects. So you probably know insects like ladybugs, ants, grasshoppers, flies, dragonflies. I think this is a firefly. So there's lots and lots of different kinds of insects that you know of, but there's close to 1 million in total. That's just such a big number. It's hard to believe. So I'm going to start us off with a quick video on Brain Pop Jr. that will go over the main things that make an animal an insect. And then we'll be adding some words to our animal vocabulary books. So you'll want to have these ready, or at least something to write on if you don't have one of these. And then the last thing we're going to do is add to our classification cards. So you'll want your little classification cards out, turn to the insect page. All right, I'll go ahead and share my screen. Here we go.
Check it out. I found a praying mantis. What are insects? An invertebrate is an animal that does not have a spine or backbone. Insects are invertebrates. Insects can look really different from each other, but they do have some traits in common. Insects have 3 body parts: the head, thorax, and abdomen. The head has a mouth, eyes, and a pair of antennae. Insects use their antennae to smell, taste, and sense the world around them. Insects have compound eyes, which means each eye has tiny parts that point in different directions. This helps the insect to see more of its environment at once. The thorax is the middle section of the insect's body. It's where the legs attach to the body. Insects have 3 pairs of legs, for a total of 6 legs. Some insects have wings, which also attach to the thorax. The abdomen is the lower part of the body. It contains the insect's digestive system. Insects have exoskeletons, which means their skeletons are on the outside of their bodies. They do not have lungs like mammals. Instead, they breathe using tiny openings in their exoskeletons. Some insects look like other animals to scare off predators. Insects are cold-blooded animals, which means they use the environment to control their body temperatures. Insects have adapted to their habitats in different ways. How do insects survive in their environments? Many insects use camouflage to stay safe. Stink bugs let off a bad scent to stay safe. The milkweed grasshopper oozes a poison that can harm its predators. Some insects have stingers they can use to attack enemies. Certain species of insects, such as bees, wasps, termites, and ants, stay safe by sticking together. They live together in large groups called colonies. In ant colonies, the queen lays the eggs and the other ants protect and take care of the nest. How do insects grow and change? Insects go through metamorphosis as they turn into adults. Some insects hatch from eggs and grow into nymphs. As nymphs grow bigger and turn into adults, they molt. This means they grow bigger exoskeletons and shed their old ones. Some adult insects look a lot different from when they first hatch. Larvae hatch from eggs, grow and change into a pupa, and into a butterfly. Some people think insects are annoying pests or even scary, but they're an important part of our environment. Why are insects important? Insects help spread pollen, and plants rely on them to grow. Some insects, like aphids, can destroy plants and crops, but other insects, like ladybugs, eat the aphids. Farmers need these insects to help keep their crops healthy. Insects provide food for many animals, including reptiles, fish, birds, and mammals. They're an important part of food chains, and animals need insects to survive. People rely on insects too. Bees give us honey and wax, and silkworms give us silk. Insects live on every continent, even Antarctica. Scientists have found about 1 million species of insects, but there are a lot more that haven't been discovered. Most of the living things on our planet are insects. I love learning about insects because they can do incredible things. Well, did you know that a flea can jump 100 times its own height? That'd be the same as a person jumping over a tall building. Moby, you're such a show-off.
Okay, great. So we learned a lot about insects in that video, and everything that was in that video is on our poster. So let's go over that really quickly. So one of the big things about insects is that they have 3 body parts. They have their head, their thorax, and their abdomen. So the head is on top. Their thorax is the middle section, and on their thorax, that's where any legs or wings would be attached in the middle part. And then the abdomen, that's their bottom part where their digestive tract is. Now, what's kind of cool is that people also have the same 3 body parts. We have a head, so everyone touch your head. We have a thorax. A thorax is our chest. And then we also have an abdomen, and it is also where the digestive tract is. So in that way, we are similar to insects. In almost every other way, we are very different though. So head, thorax, abdomen. And it's the same order in people: head, thorax, abdomen. So those are the 3 body parts in an insect. They have 6 legs. Now, all the legs would be attached to the thorax, the middle section of their body. Okay, they also have 2 antennae. So that is what is attached to their head, right? The little, we call them their feelers, right? Helps them feel things around them. It is also their nose. It's how they smell things in the environment around them. So we pronounce it antennae if there's more than one. Right? Two is more than one, so it's two antennae. If it's just one, it's an antenna. So it's one antenna, two antennae. Okay, can you say that with me? One antenna, two antennae. Okay. And then insects, they are not vertebrates like us. They are invertebrates, and they have what's called an exoskeleton that helps protect their body. And then they are also cold-blooded. So we'll be talking about these last three parts in our vocabulary book, and I'll tell you a little bit more about them. All right, so vocabulary books should be out. You can go ahead, open to a new page. Oh, we're getting a lot of words in here. It's great. So we're going to start with the word antenna. Okay. And you're going to write the word antenna in the word box. And then in the definition box, you'll write feelers that insects have on top of their heads. So I want you to go ahead and pause this so you can write that in. And I'll count down and then I'll keep going. So pause it in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so hopefully you have the word and definition in your book. Remember, you need to be writing small so that it fits. For some of you, it might help to put in some lines before so that you're making sure to write on the top and then to the bottom and making the best of the space that's there. So we do need to come up with a sentence for the bottom box. And I wrote that all insects have antennae, which are used to smell. You can write the same thing, or you can go ahead and find a different fact. I always welcome you to do that. But yes, all insects have antennae. All those millions, or almost a million different kind of insects have antennae. It's pretty cool. They don't have noses, so the antennae are used to smell. If you need more time to write this, go ahead and pause. I'm going to move on in 3, 2, 1. Okay, you're going to go ahead and go to the next page in your book. And our next word is cold-blooded. So you might remember that warm-blooded means that we try to keep the inside of our bodies at a constant temperature. Right, so if you take your temperature right now, it'll probably be around 98.7 degrees. Maybe a tiny bit higher, a tiny bit cooler, but it's always going to be around there unless you have a fever. But it doesn't matter if you're outside in the cold, cold weather or it's really, really hot, your body temperature will be about the same. And warm-blooded creatures include mammals and birds. Now, cold-blooded creatures take on the temperature of their surroundings. So if they're in a cold environment, their body temperature goes down. If they're in a hot environment, their body temperature goes up. So hopefully you had some time to write this in, right? Cold-blooded goes in the word box, and then in the definition box, you're writing body temperature changes according to the surrounding temperatures. Those are some big words. I'll say it one more time. Body temperature changes according to the surrounding temperatures. Make sure you're writing nice and small to fit that in. Start at the top of your box. Don't write big at the middle or the bottom, then you will definitely run out of space. You go ahead and pause this if you need more time. Okay, I'm gonna move on in 3, 2, 1. And we still need a sentence. So I did mention before that mammals and birds are warm-blooded. So all the other animal groups we'll be talking about are cold-blooded. So it's not just insects. It's insects, reptiles, fish, and amphibians are cold-blooded. Go ahead, write that in. If you need to pause, you can pause now. I'll be moving on in 3, 2, 1. Okay. And that leaves us with one more word for today, which is exoskeleton, right? That's the outer shell or covering. So insects aren't the only ones with an exoskeleton. You might think of some other animals that have one, maybe like crabs, lobster, shrimp, even spiders have an exoskeleton. And these exoskeletons are really a great defense from predators, right? Animals who want to eat them or attack them. It also helps keep their internal organs from getting wet or from drying out. It's almost like a raincoat that they always keep on. One thing that's not great about it is they're very heavy, and that's why you would never see a larger animal with an exoskeleton, right? There are no people-sized insects. It would be way too heavy. So your word is exoskeleton. The definition is outer shell or covering. If you need more time for that, go ahead and pause. And I'm moving on in 3, 2, 1. Okay. And so in the sentence, I wrote, insects, spiders, and crustaceans all have exoskeletons. So crustaceans are like the crabs and lobsters, shrimp, those water animals with the hard shell. So go ahead and write that in. Spiders and crustaceans are not included in the 6 groups that we'll be talking about. So it's important for you to know that while we're talking about the 6 main groups of animals, there are still other ones that we won't be covering. Our world is full of animals of all different kinds. And as you can probably tell by now, it's really hard to put them into nice, neat groups. There's just so many of them. So if you need to pause, go ahead and pause. We'll be moving on in 3, 2, 1. Okay, that's it for our vocabulary book today. So quickly, just as review, I want to read the words we've done so far. Let's get our mammal words out. Here they are. Okay, you ready? I want you to go ahead and say them out loud. I'll give you 1 or 2 seconds and then I'll say it too, so you can check yourself. All right. Vertebrates. Warm-blooded. Nurse. Omnivore. Herbivore. Carnivore. Antenna. Cold-blooded. Exoskeleton. All right. Hopefully you got most of those. We'll keep reviewing them if you need more practice. All right, now the last thing for today is you're going to get out your animal classification cards. Now I gave them to you in a different order than we'll be doing them. So you can always open up the clip and put them in the order we're covering them. Or you can just go ahead and flip to insects. I've been coloring them in as we go. So I colored in my ladybug red and black. You're welcome to color yours in as well. So insects, I'm going to move to the back. Now, it only says 1, 2, and 3 on the back for characteristics. We have more than 3 characteristics. So what I want you to do is make it 5. So you can put a 3 right here, make this a 4, and make this a 5. You'll want more room on the first 2 lines. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go ahead and change that, and then we'll write in the 5 characteristics. Okay. You'll see in our insect poster, we have 5 things as well, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's exactly what we'll be writing. So on the first line, I'm going to write 3 body parts: head, thorax, and abdomen. It's a lot to write. If you want to change the 3 into the number 3 just to make it shorter, give you space, that's okay. That's what I did. Show you mine. Yeah, so for number 1, I wrote 3 body parts: head, thorax, abdomen. Number 2 is 6 legs. Number 3, 2 antennae. Number 4, hard exoskeleton. Number 5 is cold-blooded. Okay. So you're going to fill that in. If you need to pause this, go ahead and pause it. It's kind of hard for me to hold these up. Let me get it a little closer. There. You can go ahead and pause. Okay, hopefully you wrote those down in your classification cards so that you have all your information in one place. And that's it for insects today. Though we do have some fun activities later this week. You're going to be creating your very own bug. Just making sure that it has these things. So it will need 3 body parts. It will need 6 legs. It will need 2 antennae. But other than that, you get to be very creative, and then we will be writing about it. You'll be telling me, what does it look like? Where does it live? What does it like to do? What does it like to eat? So we'll be working on that starting on Wednesday. We'll be doing that Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Tomorrow we'll just continue exploring insects a little more. For the rest of today, what I want you to do, if you have time, is go into typingclub.com or typing.com. Right? It's really important that you are practicing almost every day for typing. If you can just get 10 minutes in, you will pick it up a lot faster. And when you're practicing, make sure you're looking at where your fingers are. I know right now it might be easier just to point right with your fingers, but as you go, if you are putting your fingers on the right keys, you can get a lot faster, right? It'll slow you down for now, but if you keep practicing, it's really the only way you can get really fast. And in today's world where we're using computers so much, it's really important that you become a good typer, especially for middle school and high school. You'll have to be writing a lot on the computer. So get that practice in now. Also, remember to keep exercising. I know some of you are getting out, going on walks, or you might have scooters or bikes. That's all great. If you're having a hard time getting outside, use Go Noodle. The app is free, so you can dance, stretch, do yoga, it has it all. Or you can just practice your jumping jacks, you can practice your push-ups and sit-ups or curl-ups, because we all need to practice on the correct form for that. So definitely have a parent with you so they can show you how that is supposed to look. And if you need more guidance, there's a lot of YouTube videos. Just put in how to do a push-up, right? How to do a sit-up, how to do a jumping jack, and they'll give you a good visual if you need that. So that's all for today, everyone. Have a wonderful afternoon, and I will see you here tomorrow. I miss you all. Bye.